Hey everyone, I'm Andy.
And I'm Sean.
And believe it or not, this is the Commander's Brew.
This week, Tazri's Bad Guys.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Commander's Brew here on YouTube. We got a brand new deck tech for you this week, and if you like them, if you like the stuff that we're doing around here, go ahead and hit subscribe or leave a comment. That's all very helpful for us. Or if you want to help directly, you can go to patreon.com/commandersbrew and donate directly to the show, get some perks, get in on our Discord, help us brew these decks. We're having a lot of fun in there these days. It just keeps growing and growing, and it's a fun thing to be a part of. Yeah, check it out, patreon.com/commandersbrew. Okay, and without further ado, we're going to get to this week's deck tech. Sean, this week's deck tech, tell us about it.
This one was so fun to make. It is Tazri, Beacon of Unity. Tazri is... I'll just read you what Tazri says. Tazri, Beacon of Unity, 4 and a white for a legendary human warrior. She starts as a 4/6. This spell costs 1 generic less for each creature in your party. And we all remember that a party consists of a cleric, a warrior, a wizard, and a rogue. If you have each creature of those types gets to count for one of the party members, a full party is 4, one of each. So Tazri potentially costs just white, like just a single white pip. You can also pay either 2 or a blue, 2 or a black, 2 or a red, 2 or a green. Basically, one of black, blue, red, or green. But if you don't have one of those, you can pay 2 generic instead of any one of those. So at minimum 4 and at maximum 8. Although you'd have to have all colorless to pay 8. Anyway, here's what you do. You look at the top 6 cards of your library, and you may reveal up to 2 party members and or ally cards from among them, and put them in your hand and put the rest on the bottom. Draw 2 out of 6, that's pretty good. But the theme that we went with, this has been super fun. It was a blast in the Discord to make this one. You know how, like in most good guy teams, eventually they meet the bad guy team that is sort of equivalent to them, but they're evil versions, sort of?
Yeah.
That's this deck. So it's Grixis. The only white we have is for Tazri herself.
Oh.
But all of the clerics and wizards and rogues, and they're all evil kind of characters from the Grixis colors. They tend to fall into those evil categories.
Yeah, Grixis, the evil colors. True.
Yeah,
kind of.
Basically.
They're the evil shard, kind of.
Yeah, they would hate to say that, but it's true.
Hey,
it's
just
true.
like evil Sean, I'm telling you.
I mean, yeah, I think Evil Sean is very evil.
That's
the commander. So let's set the scene. Since we're only planning on using white to actually cast Tazri, we've got some support to do that. Andy, why don't you just take this short list of cards, which are some, but not all of the ways we're going to be able to cast Tazri.
Okay, so some things that are going to help us cast Tazri, the first one being the old Vivid Crag. My old boy, Vivid Crag. It's a land. It's one of the Vivid lands, obviously. There's a whole cycle of these. And Vivid Crag enters the battlefield tapped with 2 charge counters on it. You can tap it to just add red, or you can tap it to remove a charge counter from Vivid Crag and add 1 mana of any color. The Vivid cycle is I think kind of underrated, right? Like, yeah, it's an ETB tapped land, but it's a 5-color land, and most of the time you actually don't like tapping this to and removing the counter, like, kind of rarely happens. But when you do need it, it's there for you, right? And that's the great thing about it. The fact that it still taps for red mana, like the Vivid Crag, and there's also like Creek and Marsh, right? Is really it's essential. It's great. So I like these lands a lot. I like Vivid, especially in 5-color decks. Next, we also have Golden Egg, 2 mana artifact. It's food. When the egg enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and you can pay 1 and tap it, sacrifice Golden Egg, add 1 mana of any color, so it filters your mana there. And you can pay 2 and tap it and sack it, and you gain 3 life. So it just acts like a normal piece of food there. This is a great one, just replaces itself, and then, yeah, like we said, like, just filters your mana there. That's nice. A card that I really like putting in decks because of the filtering thing, or rather the the draw a card, like the replacing itself. Is
Yeah.
nice. Sphere of the Suns, 2 mana for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, it enters the battlefield tapped with 3 charge counters on it. And tap to remove a charge counter from Sphere of Suns. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Same type of thing, you know. Having to like getting this early as ramp is good. You're tapping it 3 turns, like that's pretty good to get out of it. And but a lot of times you don't even need to use all your mana. By the time that third counters, like that last counters on it, you can oftentimes just do without it, kind of. So it's actually not that big of a downside that it comes with just the limited use on it.
Yeah, I'm counting on the fact that you won't need white that often. Like you're not able to cast your commander and have it disappear that many times before it's like, well, I'm not going to be able to pay for it anyway, so it kind of doesn't matter.
Exactly. And finally, or not finally, rather, we have Prophetic Prism, also another 2 mana artifact that replaces itself and filters. Great one. Commander Sphere is also in here, the 3 mana classic artifact, tap it for any color, sack Commander Sphere to draw a card. And we also have Firemind Vessel. It's 4 mana for an artifact. You tap, it enters tapped, and then when you tap it, you add 2 mana of different colors. So yeah, it gets our other 2 colors outside of Grixis for us. Any combination really that you want. So this is it's another good one. 4 tapping for 2 is pretty sweet.
This is the best one to, like I said, it gives us our white to cast Tazri, but it's also great when we're activating Tazri's ability because we can get that green and the black or blue or red or whatever. This is an amazing little scene stealer of setting it up.
Nice.
So that's kind of a little bit of the skeleton of how we're going to get Tazri up. But this is a Grixis deck, and it's about the bad guys. We're meant to be the villains. So of course, among the vegetables, of course, you know we're running murder, right? Like every team of villains would for sure run murder. It's one of the classic removal spells: 1 black, instant, destroy target creature. Bad guys also have to like have a vehicle that they all drive, so that's the smuggler's copter. They're a bunch of smugglers. 2 generic for a vehicle. It flies. It's the 3/3, and you can crew it for 1. And I mean, I haven't double checked, but I'm almost positive everything has at least 1 power. So anyone can crew it, and when it attacks or blocks, you can loot. You can draw and then discard. The team resides in Bolus's Citadel.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
another card we're running.
Great
3
base.
black. It's our base for a
of
legendary
operations.
artifact. You can look at the top card of your library at any time, and you get to play the cards on top for... Yeah, you can pay mana for the top card as if it, like, for life. That wasn't the clearest. You can play the cards off the top of your deck, and you can cast spells by paying life instead of mana cost for them. And you can tap to sacrifice 10 permanents, non-land permanents, and each opponent loses 10 life. I always forget that one. It's a costly way to win, but I mean, what better way to sacrifice yourself to just get that victory? And every bad guy team's gotta have traps. Like, we gotta set traps for the good guys. So of course, among them is Whiplash Trap. There's an example. It is an instant trap. It's 3 blue to return 2 target creatures to their owner's hands. But if an opponent had 2 or more creatures enter under their control this turn, you can just pay a single blue instead. I think this is gonna be a single blue very frequently. Unless it's a non-creature deck you're facing, but lots of decks want to put in more than 1 creature. Tokens, anything like that.
Yeah, good call.
So that's kind of the gist of it. That's how we're gonna handle Tazri once we get the Grixis bad guys going. And I think it's time that we get into some innate myths.
Working on a
Meat.
Cool.
Yeah.
What
Yeah. So
what does this team
we've
look
got
like?
7 of each. We've got 7 of each of the party members. And I'm not gonna go through all of them, but I think we're gonna go through one sort of like pawn of the team, like one
a
of each
minion
party
style?
member. The minions that just kind of do things, and then we're gonna go with one more of a mini boss of the deck. So Andy, why don't you start us off with the Clerics?
Yeah, okay, so starting off with our Clerics here, we have Harsh Mentor. as our kind of minion. 1 and a red for a 2/2 human cleric. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land on the battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, Harsh Mentor deals 2 damage to that player. So quite the punishing villain to have to come across.
Yeah.
Also, we have as our little mini boss here for the clerics, we have Vito, Thorn of the Dusk Rose, 2 and a black for the 1/3 legendary vampire cleric. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life, and you can pay 3 black. Creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. This is the thing I love about Vito, is that you're looking at this guy and you're like, well, don't you need like a bunch of life gain and stuff? And, don't you want to build around this ability? Well, yes, obviously he gets better with that. But if Vito is his own engine, you just activate 3 black creatures you control gain lifelink, all of a sudden all of your creatures are kind of like weirdly double striking. Do you know what I mean? Like they're whatever their damage is dealing, that's how much will also get immediately like kind of dealt to that person.
And it's not like the one of the workarounds when you're fighting against Vito is to like hold your removal spell. So it's like, okay, I'll remove Vito before like the triggers go on the stack before combat damage. But at that point, if I'm striking you for like a dozen points of damage and then you remove Vito so I don't get his triggers, but I've given them all lifelink anyway, that's a decent enough life swing that I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that's right. Like just the lifelink alone is really good to have, right? Like that can bring you back in games that you're behind in. So really good.
Yeah, let's talk about some warriors here. 1 pawn in the deck is very surprised to find this warrior, Moriak Replica. 3 generic for an artifact creature warrior. 2/2, and then this warrior has the ability, 1 and a black, sacrifice Moriak Replica, you draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. It has, what is that, blood, all of those black draw card spells.
Yeah.
And I can't think of any names right now, but like it's on a creature, and so Tazri can find this as one of her 2 minions or other creatures. So I think that's a very useful warrior to have. One of our mini boss warriors is Garna the Bloodflame. 3 black-red, human warrior with flash. She's a 3/3, and when Garna enters, return to your hand all of the creature cards that were put in your graveyard this turn, and other creatures you control have haste. We've already talked about Moriak Replica. There is a little bit of a possibility of sacrificing here. I can sacrifice Moriak Replica, draw those 2 cards. Garna comes down. I get Moriak back into my hand. It's a pretty decent little combo there.
Not bad. Next, we are going to take a look at the Evil Wizards. I love an Evil Wizard. Firstly, we have Apprentice Necromancer. 1 and a black for a 1/1. It's a zombie wizard. It has black and tap. Sacrifice Apprentice Necromancer, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature gains haste. At the beginning of the next step, sacrifice it. So yeah, just being able to nab something out of the graveyard, get it in there, haste-wise, pretty sweet. Other effects, bringing this back, bringing other things back too, like having a little sacrifice theme is pretty nice. Garna, for example. Then our little mini-boss here for Wizard is Nin the Pain Artist. Blue-red for a 1/1 Vidalcan Wizard. You pay X blue-red, tap it. Nin the Pain Artist deals X damage to target creature. That creature's controller draws X cards. I mean, I just love that it's, hitting any of your other creatures. It's basically a sacrifice this creature, pay this much mana, and draw a bunch of cards. It's really great. Yeah. And in a pinch, it can hit an opponent that has something that is like, I don't know, it's about to kill you or something, and it's just like some utility creature that's like a 2/2. Sweet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Some rogues. A pawn of a rogue is Zulaport Cutthroat. 1 and a black. Human rogue ally. I don't have a big ally theme in this deck. Tazri can find allies or party members, but right. Zulaport counts as a rogue and an ally. Not that it matters. Whenever Zulaport, Cutthroat, or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. One of the classic aristocrat pieces. This is not an aristocrat deck, but there is a little bit of a sacrifice and reanimate sub-theme. This is the perfect pawn for the rogues for that strategy. And what better mini-boss of a rogue than Gonti, Lord of Luxury, 2 black, legendary Aetherborn Rogue, Death Touch, 2/3. When Gonti enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of target opponent's library, exile one of them face down and put the rest on the bottom in a random order. You can look at and cast that card as long as it remains exiled, and you can spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. So what better villainous plan than to use your own stuff against you? I think that's perfect.
Yeah, I just love Gonti as a card, period. So I'm just always happy to include this in any kind of brew. So having Gonti be the evil rogue leader seems right on the money.
Yeah. We didn't cover all of them, but did you notice how all of the mini bosses mentioned were legendary creatures?
Yes, I did notice that. Yeah.
There's plenty of legendary creatures in the deck that just happens to work that way. Tazri herself is obviously legendary, has to be for Commander, but being able to cast Tazri for very cheap sometimes means we almost are never without a legendary creature. So that's why Yawgmoth's Vile Offering is so perfect in the deck. 4 and a black, legendary sorcery. You're only allowed to cast it if you have a legendary. Put up to 1 target creature or planeswalker from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, and destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. Then you exile this card. It's a brutal card, but it's great for villains.
Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. Certainly, I've never really looked at this art before. And that is quite a vile offering. Like, I mean, I don't even know if I want to say what that looks like, but it's rough. It's rough stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yawgmoth's vile butthole. Anyways, let's move on. Let's move on to... oh, yeah, so a non-party member includes someone that's going to be able to slide in here and do some work for us, though, is Evil Twin. I mean, it's right in the name there. And if you're listening to this on the audio show, we encountered our own Evil Twin today. 2 blue black for a shapeshifter, a 0/0. You can have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it gains blue black tap, destroy target creature with the same name as this creature. So a little bit of an assassin there. Also, just if any of your opponents or if anything you have you want to double up, obviously just a great clone ability. This is a great card. I love Evil Twin.
It's so fun. It's not a party member. There isn't a ton of room for non-party members in the deck just because you want to have a decent chance of hitting something with Tazri. Mm-hmm. But I gotta say, Evil Twin had to get in there. It's the perfect on-theme card for what we're trying to do.
Yeah, this is a bad guy. Straight up.
Well, here's the coolest angle of the deck, in my opinion, that we stumbled into through the Discord. Is we were working on like people kept just throwing out ideas for just generally evil cards. Mm-hmm. Like cards that when you cast and or resolve them, it's just like, ooh, this card's nasty. Like it does mean things to the game. And I started thinking to myself, well, we certainly should have some. Like, we should absolutely have some mean cards, because we're a deck of villains. We fight dirty with this deck. But I couldn't decide. So I think this is the perfect opportunity to be one of those decks where there's a chunk of cards that you shuffle in a portion of. So the base of this deck, everything that we've talked about, I've tried to put together approximately a core of 90 cards. And we've created an evil board, which is like 20 generally evil cards that you shuffle in 10 of them. So that makes your 100-card deck, so that you never fully know what the villains are up to at any given moment. Your opponents don't, and you might not know either until you've had a chance to look through with like a search or a tutor or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So obviously, let's go through some of the evil board. And one of the ways we're going to find a card, like what we're going to manifest our evil plans is, oops, I put it out of order here. Well, let's go through some examples. Andy, take this first card in the next tab as the example of one of our evil board cards.
Sure. We have Commandeer. It's 5 blue for an instant that says you may remove 2 blue cards in your hand from the game you can exile 2 blue cards from your hand rather than pay the spell's mana cost, and you gain control of target non-creature spell, and you can choose new targets for it. This one, like the removing 2 blue cards is is sweet when it's relevant. Although I find that a lot of the times you're just happy to pay 7 for this effect. Grab a planeswalker or grab some other like really like an awesome artifact or something. It a lot of the times it's well worth it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we've also got something like Mnemonic Betrayal in there. That's 1 blue-black for a sorcery. Exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards. That can just be really mean to anyone who wants to use their graveyard. But also, you may cast those cards this turn, and you may spend mana as if it were mana of any type to cast those spells. At the beginning of the next end step, if any of those cards remain exiled, return them to their owner's graveyard. So you temporarily turn off their graveyard, but just being, again, it's in the theme of like, I'm going to steal all of your tools to do your plan against you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about this card. 3 mana and then just have, just like make a bunch of mana and go for it.
Scariest animation on Arena by far.
Oh, yeah, and it's, the art is very, that's evil art, no question.
Yeah.
That's like from a metal album. It's great.
Yeah.
We also have Keravec the Merciless in here, 5 black, red for the 5/4 legendary human shaman. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, Keravec deals damage to target creature or player equal to that spell's converted mana cost. Wow.
Yeah.
It's any target, actually, so it can hit planeswalkers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this just makes it so that people don't want to play spells. That's mean. That's evil. That's wrong.
Yeah. Keravec won't show up every time, but this is sort of like the big boss of the deck. Like, there's a couple of big evil creatures that are in the evil board that are like, yeah.
Of course.
And we also have like, so there's some more like sort of, they get more evil. We've got some really bigger, much crazier spells. Like, this is where those go. It's hard to find homes for these, but how about Bend or Break? I never heard of this one before. 3 and a red for a sorcery. Each player separates all non-token lands they control into 2 piles. For each player, one of their piles is chosen by one of their opponents of their choice. Destroy all lands in the chosen piles. Tap all lands in the other piles. This is risky because what you don't want as the evil player is to be too evil where everyone goes, okay, no problem. We'll all just choose each other's piles with all the lands, right? Yeah. Make 2 piles, 1/0, 1 all. We'll choose each other and we'll be nice to each other, and we'll make the evil deck player lose half of their non-token lands. So that sounds good, but I'm pretty sure you have to do this in turn order. So like when the first person goes, then the next person goes. So then at a certain point, like it's kind of like when you join forces to search for a land. It's like, are you going first? Do you want to search for a land? It's like, I always say no, but the last person can kind of snitch on the group for it.
Interesting. It feels like one of those cards where everyone gets to make that kind of like decision that's going to have a real big impact. Like, you really have to trust the person to be like, okay, everything in one pile, nothing in the other one. Like, come on, man, what are you going to do? You have to make a pact with each other that you're not going to do it. And then if you're the second person who's just like, it didn't happen to you, like, you could really hose someone.
You really could. I want to double check that it resolves in order like that. It's not clear how the timing works on it.
I would imagine that like everyone separates the lands at the same time, so you can kind of discuss with someone else, let's say. But then it has to resolve in an order, right? Like, I would just think it has to. But anyway, I'll read the next one here.
Okay.
Another big bad one. We've got Worst Fears. Oh, I remember this card. 7 and a black. So 8 total for the sorcery that says you control target player during that player's next turn. Exile Worst Fears. So just a big, huge grab the turn, wreak some havoc. These cards are always so much fun. But it's a lot, it's a lot to pay. And because sometimes you do grab a player's turn and it's just like, okay, well, I don't know. Crack your Evolving Wilds and fail to find, and then like, I don't know, don't play your draw spell. But you know what? I still find them to be quite fun because I've lost games because of this effect. That's for sure. I remember once someone just taking my turn and just being like, I was going to win. I was about to win this turn, and you just screwed it all up so badly. So worst fears. It's always fun to have a card like this hanging around, especially an evil deck like this.
I found a ruling on Bend or Break
Okay.
It. It does happen in turn order, starting with the non-active players. So you, the caster, will separate and choose an opponent last. So the person who goes after the first person has to be trusted.
Ooh, so okay, all right. Wow, interesting. I would like to see that spell played out. I would like to see that. Next.
Here's another evil one. Destructive Force, 5 red sorcery. Each player sacrifices 5 lands, and Destructive Force deals 5 damage to each creature. Yeah, mean.
Yeah, it's mean. It's at least it's equal though, so it's like, hey, how this game was on turn 8? Not anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Certainly evil, but for other reasons perhaps. And then this is a great one. Legacy Weapon.
Yes.
7 mana for the legendary artifact. You can pay Wooburg and remove target permanent from the game, also known as exile target permanent. And then if you're going to shuffle this into a graveyard from anywhere, you reveal it and shuffle it into the library instead. No reanimating this guy. But yeah, Legacy Weapon, a fun card. I mean, paying Wooburg to just exile something, good ability. Big bad stuff. Pretty simple. Cool though.
I wanted to make sure we had one like evil artifact that the bad guy deck was trying to secure, and once they do, they'll enact their plan of world domination.
Yeah, do you suppose the Legacy Weapon is Karn? Is that what it is?
Or is it the head of Urza?
Yeah, is it Urza's head? Or it can't be just those floating... Or is it, and there's the Weatherlight. I think Karn is the Legacy Weapon or something, isn't he? Or it's inside of him? Anyways, I don't know. I didn't read those old books.
I'm loose on the mythos of these characters.
Yeah, me too. I'm pretty loose on the whole Weatherlight saga. But yeah, I love the idea of this evil board. That's speaking my language. I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, that's so fun. I love those kind of decks. Like, I know that like any deck where you can kind of keep it fresh for yourself. Like a lot of times for me, I feel like retiring a deck once I've done the thing.
Yeah, same here.
But something like this, there's lots of different things. So like it's got so much more life in it for that reason.
And I know that just seeing some other people play similar decks at like GPs and stuff, I know that I can't remember who it was I was playing against. It was a Naya. It was a Mael deck that had like a bunch of, and it's a popular deck to do this with is Mael. You just shuffle in or out like a bunch of the big monsters and stuff, right? The big creatures. And they had little like those little round stickers, like a colored sticker, and they just had that like on the inside of their sleeve, on the like facing out those, like you could see what color it was. It wasn't on the outside of the sleeve, so it could shuffle still fine. So it was on the inside, and so that's how they were. And then when they were like done with their deck, that's how they took them out. It was just like shuffling through so quickly, but you didn't have to like read the cards or look at whatever it was because they just had these little stickers on the inside. So that was a nice way of knowing what cards were in your like sideboard or whatever it is, right? So just a little tip there.
I think that's fun.
Happen.
Yeah. Real huge thanks to the gang in the Discord. This was super fun to brew. I feel like I'm forgetting some names because this list seems too short, but here's some names written down. Thank you to Chiefy, Spiff, Papadillo, Pips Don't Lie, Nosrak 2, Brave Sir Robin, Matthias Corfart, Kvarfort, Beppo. I know Neomaxis was in there helping out. I'm positive I'm forgetting some. I'm sorry if I do. You know how it is in there. These brews go fast, and like names are in and out. Dylan PH, no doubt, was in there. Yeah. Surely forgetting a couple. My apologies if I do, but I'll get you next time.
Great. Well, the Discord helpers were named, which means it is now time for the budget report. That's right. Sean, what did this one come out to?
This was tricky to figure out. I was having trouble. I put it... So you can find the link to the TCG player link to see this deck list, and so like going, I have a hard time figuring out their median and their low because I'm getting some weird numbers on some of the cards specifically. I think it says it's about $100 as the low, which seems very high to me.
Seems high.
However, this includes the full evil board, so there's more cards than you need. You can easily cut a bunch of stuff, and actually I was shocked, there's some very surprising cards that shot up a lot. Really? For example, Twilight Prophet, one of our clerics, is almost $20 now. Wow. 2 black flying 2/4 vampire cleric with ascend. If you have 10 or more permanents, you have the city's blessing, and at the beginning of your upkeep, it's like reverse Bob. It's like reverse so you reveal the top card during your upkeep of your deck, and each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is that card's converted mana cost, and you put it into your hand. So you're drawing 2 cards a turn, and you're potentially draining your opponents for a few points every turn as well. Undoubtedly powerful. Plus it's a 2/4 for 4 if that flies. But $20 surprised me.
I remember when it came out, it was really expensive, and I would have assumed it would have dropped by now. But yeah, I guess it's just being a solid ability for Commander. Although I will say this, like, this is one of those cards that immediately when people play it, people just kill it. Like, it just, I've basically never seen this card do the thing it does.
I know, and I feel the only time I've gotten it, it's always a land. So it's like, no, okay.
Yep. All right, thanks.
Happy to draw it, but whatever.
Yeah. We also have Grenzo, Havoc Razor, the red 2/2 version of Grenzo. Legendary Goblin Rogue. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you choose one. You can goad target creature that player controls, or exile the top card of that player's library, and you can play it till end of turn. Use mana of any color, whatever. $16?
Yeah.
Didn't expect that.
Didn't expect it. Also, I mean, here's another one I know it's been climbing, but Rise of the Dark Realms is $16. 7 black. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. Needless to say, this is one of the evil board's cards, so that's, optional for the deck, but it's like, but the Jumpstart version 16, Magic 2014, $18.
Yeah, this has been expensive for a long time, and I was excited to see that it was getting reprinted in Jumpstart, but I don't know. Does anyone own any Jumpstart yet? Like, can you even buy it? I saw two packs of it at Walmart, and it was, I don't know, it seemed expensive for Walmart even. I was like,
I'm paranoid. I've seen so many posts of people returning cards with like lands in them to Walmart.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't buy Magic cards period from Walmart, so I just was like, interesting. But yeah, Rise of the Dark Realms been expensive for a while. I guess Grenzo maybe is expensive because it's a conspiracy card. I know that those are always kind of like, the supply is a little lower on those, generally speaking, so maybe that's the reason why. And it's a good card. And then finally, Commandeer. I am with you on this, but I discovered this, like, I don't know, it was like a couple months ago. Same thing. I was like, oh, this card's like a couple bucks, $2-3. No, $13 for Commandeer, and I'm telling you, it's fun and it's good, but like, it's not $13 good.
No, I think it's because you can cast it for free, technically. Yeah,
and trust me, like, that's unless you're in a mono blue deck, it's actually not as easy as it sounds. It's not as good as it sounds either, because it's to take 2 cards plus this out of your hand. Like, you're paying 3 cards for whatever it is that they're casting. Rarely is that worth it, and the 7 mana thing, it can be really good. Like I said, like, a lot of times you are excited. You're more excited to pay the 7 mana, and that's kind of what I meant when I was talking back there. So, but still, 7 mana is a lot. Like I said, like, this reminds you of Force Will, but it is not that. It is still, it is good, but like I said, I don't think it's $13 good.
So we've highlighted what, almost more than $60 worth of cards here that are just like surprisingly expensive. You could easily chop that off the deck with these 4 cards alone. These are the 4 most expensive cards. The next one is like $3. So like these bear the weight of the price of the deck by themselves. So cut these find similar but different evil cards, and you're in business.
Great. Sounds good to me. I'm excited to do that, and I'm excited also for us to get dressed up.
Ooh,
because as
is it
you
the
know,
time?
It is time to go to the Audric Awards. Take it away. Yes, welcome everyone. Welcome. Here we are. There's Garna the Blood Flame. Look.
Garna, great to see you as always. Lovely to see you.
Garna, who are you wearing? Garna, who are you wearing? Human skin? Okay, great. Cool. Thank you. Great.
Yes,
Very
thank
cool.
you. And that's Meryl Streep on honor. Great to see you, Meryl.
Didn't expect to see her here at the Audrics.
Yes.
Honestly, though, she is the winner of the most Audrics. Same thing as the Oscars. She's won the most.
Yes, you wouldn't think of it since this is primarily a Magic card award thing, but Meryl Streep just can't not win.
She can't not win. She's just so good. She's a national treasure.
Yes.
Okay, well, what awards do we have to give away today, Sean?
We have a very important award. I'll just warn you right now, Andy. It's the wrong version in the tab. Please select the Dominaria version.
Okay. Done and done.
I'm here to present the award for Best Career Revival After the Phantom Menace. And it goes to Dark Bargain, Watto from the pod racing arena. He's in the back now giving a green thing to somebody.
Hey, you're right. Wow. Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Wow. I didn't even know there were two beings in this art.
Yes.
I did not look close enough at Dark Bargain ever. Wow. Well, congratulations to Dark Bargain, making a difference with this win, representing all the bargains in Magic quite well.
Yes. Now that is what I call pod racing.
Wizard. All right, everyone. Well, thank you very much for being with us this week, and thanks for attending the Audrics with us at the end of the episode once again. We will see everyone next time. See you then.
Goodbye.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCG Player affiliate link below.
That helps us out too, and for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.